Hello everyone, KirbyVolt here, and welcome back to Let's Play Mega Man ZX. In the last episode, we went to take on Prometheus and Pandora combined, as they were leading a Maverick raid that was close to the city, under the orders of Serpent. However, they mentioned something interesting. Apparently, Serpent is just a pawn in a larger scale game that they apparently are the masterminds of, and we are another said pawns. But, despite this oddity, despite those ominous warnings, there's still a lot of problems going on. Serpent still has Model W core, and if with it, he can easily take over the country. So, our mission today is our last. Let's go to destroy Model W. There's a biometal signature coming from Slither Inc's head office in Area D. It's Model W. Go to Slither Inc's head office and destroy it. We'll take the mission. And to get to Slither Inc's head office, it is actually a very quick jump. Just go to Area D2, the highway area. And if you just go to your left... Have to teleport in? Alright. Slither Inc's head office should be familiar. It's actually the location where we had to unfortunately fight Gyro many episodes ago when we started our journey. Should we approach it this time, the doors are wide open for us. Now, you can actually exit should you go in, but past a certain point, there will be a point of no return. So if you're not fully prepared yet, if you want to get some more life ups, if you don't have all those sub-tanks that you want to get, go ahead and get those. You can do some upgrades to your biometals as well, if you would prefer to do that. I think we are pretty set. I don't use the biometals charge stuff as much, so I'm not too worried about weapon energy. With that, let's head in. Welcome to Slither Inc. Slither Inc. is probably it's a really cool final stage. I like that it's a business. It's the HQ of a business guy. And because of it, it still has that kind of business-like feeling. You got these nice comfy lounge areas with the couches and the tables and stuff, because, you know, that would be in an office building, essentially. Of course, it has some ominous stuff, like with how the walls are embedded with this kind of creepy type of, whatever that is. And you got that cool chandeliers, there's a lot of cool stuff going on here. It's not the hardest final stage in a Mega Man game, but it's definitely one of the most interesting, I feel. Now then, another cool thing to note is the music here. I love the music in this area. It is technically a rendition of the Sorrow theme, Fragments, in a more badass form. This song is called Snake Eyes, and I couldn't think of a more perfect track to play as Vent or Ale, depending on who you picked, goes to fight Serpent, since they have such a good villain-hero relationship, as he technically was responsible for killing their mother 10 years past. In this area, we have a little elevator. My suggestion is to put on Area F, to put on Model F. Because Model F can shoot up, this is actually pretty invaluable, especially because even though you can do a lot of good charge shots with those other abilities, Model F I think shines just in the fact that you can shoot enemies mostly before you see them. And that's very helpful. These elevator sections are kind of interesting too. I like the idea of it, because it is kind of like that the red carpet's been pulled out for you, that, here, come face me if you can. I kind of like that stuff. It's kind of cliche, but I think it's kind of neat. Speaking of cliches, it's time for what the Mega Man series is most famous for. Right here we have two boss rematches. Just like in the classic series, the X series, or the Zero series, we'll be refacing all the pseudo-droids that we fought, the main 8 ones that we have fought throughout the game. Normally I would speed this kind of stuff up, but I think this is kind of interesting to talk more about some other Mega Man ZX stuff that I haven't covered yet. So, after this little cutscene, let's begin. The curtain is rising on a new age. Unfortunately, you won't be around to see it. The light of the new world burns too brightly for people like you. Alright, so let's take on High Volt. High Volt reminds me of Gunvolt, which is another Inti Creates title that has come out much more recently, obviously. But I think it's kind of funny, because he's technically an electric guy, Gunvolt also has electric abilities. Interesting in that kind of regard. As for the boss fight, it's the same deal. With any of the boss rematches from any Mega Man game, really. There's nothing too dangerous or too new to be worried about for any of these. It's just about being careful. So, some interesting things to note is that this area, it is an office building, essentially, but it has all these different, little tubes and stuff going on with it, so Serpent's obviously been building his time. doing who knows what to make this kind of crazy place. I have no fear of the end. My spirit will fuse with Muddle W and Lord Serpent. So, apparently, these pseudodroids were initially given the power of the biometals, the ones that we have in our possession now. But they also apparently have power of Muddle W as well. Interesting. Something that's also interesting is that these rematch rooms are a bit bizarre in their design. Is that they actually will be the two pseudodroids that relate to the one biometal. So in this room, it's the two ones that relate to Model H. You're a real pest, still trying to fight the inevitable. Lord Serpent will be victorious. I'll carve you up and then you'll realize how futile your battle was. Whatever you say, Huracan. A funny thing to note about the pseudodroids is that all of them actually, their first letter of their name starts with the letter of the biometal that they're supposed to be holding. So, KirbyVolt starts with an H. Huracan starts with an H. Kind of a weird, subtle thing to pick up on, but I think it's kind of cool in that regard. As for this boss, I am still not quite a huge fan of her, because I am not good at dodging some of her stuff. But I'm okay with that. Just ignore... Ow. Okay, that's fine, buddy, if you want to do that. Yeah, I'm going to be a little more serious for this boss fight, just because I know this one has given me trouble in the past. Okay. If we can... There we go, and I will sub-tank it up. Almost said E-tank, which is kind of correct in a sense. I mean, sub-tanks are essentially what replaced the E-tank in the X games and onward. I don't mind the E-tanks, but I think the sub-tanks are a lot better as far as tools, because you have them forever, as or the E-tank, you use it and it's gone. It's interesting to note that this game was going on concurrently with another game, which was the Mega Man Star Force series, which was a sequel to the Mega Man Battle Network series. And that entire series started because Keiji Inafune really wanted to make an anime. At least that's my understanding of the situation. Some more history on that in just a sec, because Huracan's about to die. And that apparently didn't kill me. Or hurt me, rather. It wouldn't have killed me. I will continue to live on, one with Model W. I don't care how long it takes. I will defeat you! You tell everybody that. I don't care. And it's interesting to note, because during the series that preceded this, which is Mega Man Zero, that was happening concurrently with the Mega Man Battle Network series, which was the series that Inafune really wanted to make, after they had made Mega Man Legends. It's very interesting in that regard, because Inti Creates, the company that developed this one, as well as Mega Man Zero, they started out working for Capcom in the mid-90s, a lot of their main staff did. They worked on Mega Man X2 and I believe X3 before they departed to go and work on their own independent projects. They came back to Capcom in the early 2000s and were pretty much hired on to essentially continue platform Mega Man games, which had pretty much died out by the time that they began the Zero series. I think X6 and X5 had just been released a year prior, but not a lot of people like those games, and having played a few of them myself, I don't blame them. Unbelievable. You've been bothering poor Lord Serpent this whole time. You little brat, I'm going to grind you up. You try that. You might succeed. I'm not gonna fault you if you do. And again, it's the same. Wait, here's a cool thing we can do, is that we can use Model P to just ram this back at her. And then it gets me angry. But you know, it's a cool thing to do. So yeah, it was kind of interesting, because Inti Creates was essentially brought back to work on platform Mega Man games, since I guess Capcom either didn't find them profitable anymore, or just didn't want to make them. And that's how they began to work on this game, while Mega Man Star Force became the new priority for Inafune's main team, continuing where the Battle Network series left off. The thing that I find very interesting about this is because of what essentially became of the Battle Network series in terms of marketing, and how Star Force kind of got the same exact treatments. And ZX actually almost had that opportunity, and I died. Yay. And that's kind of where I got a little sad, because, not, obviously, dying made me sad, but ZX, Mega Man ZX had a pilot made, a 5-minute pilot made for an anime that would have been based on the story and used this art style, the same infiltrate art style, which I think is very cute. I think it's very appealing to ages, all types of ages. However, because Star Force was Inafune's main project, and that was kind of the main thing that they were pushing at Capcom, they didn't really, I guess they either didn't want to take the risk, or they just didn't like the pilot that much, because the pilot would have focused on both Vent and Ale working together to, or at least the series, the pilot was kind of showcasing that both Vent and Ale would team up with Gyro to take on a lot of the stuff that was caused by Model W. And it would have been really cool, because again, like this has a good potential for a very huge plot, and they do a very good job with it. It's unfortunate that that happened, because Star Force, well, I haven't heard a lot of overall negative things about it. I haven't heard a lot of overall positive things about it either. It was kind of met with resounding meh. Whereas this series was met with quite a lot of praise. It was still kind of met with this is extremely difficult, because the Zero series was similar in that regard. But it was also met with a lot of praise because there's a lot of good stuff going on with it. It still had that classic Mega Man feel, whereas I think by Star Force they were kind of getting tired of that Mega Man RPG stuff. And I just find that really sad, because I would have loved to see an anime about this. I mean, it doesn't need to be that long. It would have just been interesting to see, because as this game it has anime cutscenes, so clearly they have the production, they have the ideas what they'd be doing with it. But apparently that was not to be. Hi, buddy. Youth truly is wasted on the young. You still continue to defy Lord Serpent? You're blind to reality. The world that Lord Serpent is building is the next step in humanity's evolution. If that's what you want to say. I still have a tough time with this boss too, so let's hope that I can get the sweet spot right away. No. Now we're gonna get sucked up. That's pretty bad, actually. Wow. Okay. There we go. Apologies for the flashing. But let's just get rid of this guy. ASAP. Hi. Nope, nope, nope. I would like to not be in your turbine, please. Wow, I could not get out of that. What the heck? Okay, well, your stupid dorsal fin. Also, I hope I don't think... Okay, good. I was had the worry that the other boss will respawn for some reason. Yeah, we know, youth is wasted on the young and all that crap. So I just find it a bit sad. I mean, it's kind of hard to make an anime out of this. I mean, they had a very hard time making a cartoon series out of this. If you've ever seen the old Ruby Spears Mega Man cartoon, that was kind of bad. I mean, they tried, but it definitely wasn't good, that's for sure. Alright, and you are dead. Goodbye. If only you could become one with Model W, you too would understand the truth. We must evolve with a new world. Killing a lot of people ain't evolving, sorry to say. But I really think, like, again, with how this has, like, there's a lot of good stuff with it. Purple, for instance, that has kind of the history with the killing of Vent/Ale's mom, and maybe Vent and Ale could have been brother and sister in the series. There's a lot of cool things that I just feel like they could have had a lot of potential to explore. Especially because Indie Creates is really good at coming up with these good stories, whereas I think Mega Man Battle Network series, and especially Star Force series, they got a bit weird. I'm guessing that's because it was based on stuff that Inafune watched as a kid, but still, it's kind of like, seriously? Some of the stuff is a bit odd. You do have to admit. Anywho's, we're gonna leave it off here. We still have 4 more Mavericks Pseudo-Droids to go and fight. I mean, technically Mavericks, but you know. But I think let's separate this out a little bit so we don't have very huge cluster episodes as we head towards the finale. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Let's Play Mega Man ZX. If you like this video, please consider hitting that like button below, and if you want to see more content from me, please consider subscribing. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, have a great day, and ciao.